All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty wild blueprint for the future of our suburbs. It's a plan that weaves together affordable housing, climate-proof design, and, get this, artificial intelligence. It's a project called One Lake Drive, and its origin story doesn't start in some stuffy boardroom, but with a single, profound question from a 5-year-old. So this question, it came from a little boy named Zunair, right after a fire had destroyed his family's home. And it just cuts right to the heart of a huge challenge we're all facing. In this age of AI, how do we pass on more than just data? How do we pass on our wisdom, our values, our courage, our love? And believe it or not, that one question from a child sparked the entire vision we're going to explore today.
So to turn that spark into an actual plan, the founder, Mudassar Malik, who's a data scientist and engineer, he boiled it all down to 3 guiding questions. First, how can we look at all the world's sacred texts and find a kind of shared wisdom? Second, with climate change disrupting everything, what should a suburb even look like anymore? And finally, a really practical one. How many homes can you fit on a single acre of land with dignity? The answers to these are what form the blueprint for One Lake Drive.
Okay, so, Section 1, Deconstructing the Sanctuary. To really get what this project is all about, we've got to break it down into its 3 core pillars.
Now, this isn't just some fringe idea. It's already gaining serious political traction. The concept has been officially dubbed a climate sanctuary, and that term is now actually part of the 2025 Delaware Democratic Party platform. That's a really powerful signal that there's real political interest in these new models that tie together housing, community health, and the environment.
So the first pillar is all about the physical stuff, the homes themselves. And this is a complete rethink of what a suburban house is. The plan uses these modular 400-square-foot homes. Now, a basic shipping container home might only cost you about 21 grand, but the target here is $100,000, all inclusive. And that price difference is everything. It covers what's needed to make that home net zero and resilient to fire and extreme weather. The inspiration here isn't just about being cheap. It's about what they call dignified density, modeled after Montreal's famous Habitat 67.
But the vision doesn't just stop at the front door. The second pillar is about transforming the land itself. The goal is to create a living, breathing, self-sufficient ecosystem.
So you can forget about the typical perfectly manicured lawn. This model pulls in some really advanced ecological ideas, things like permaculture food forests, which are basically multi-layered edible gardens, holistic pastoral zones, where animals are actually used to regenerate the soil and reduce fire risk, and sponge city principles for really smart water management. The point isn't just to build a development. It's to create a living, self-sustaining environment.
And this brings us to the third and honestly the most unique pillar. If the house is the hardware and the land is the operating system, then this is the spiritual software that's designed to run the whole community.
At the very heart of this is a curriculum called the 7 Skills of Scripture. It's drawn from the shared wisdom of the Bible, the Quran, the Gita, and other sacred texts. But these aren't just abstract ideas. They're framed as practical life skills. Breath for mindfulness, gardening to understand your food, shepherding for ethical care of the land, and even logic to understand science and the patterns in the world. It's a truly interfaith framework for how to live well together.
And this is where that ancient wisdom gets a very modern twist. A platform called Sacred AI is being developed to help interpret these texts, support the community's learning, and even help with ethical dialogue. It's the direct answer to Zunair's question from the beginning. It's an attempt to teach an AI not just to read holy books, but to help us understand what they mean.
Okay, Section 2, the Delaware housing crisis. So this is a huge, ambitious vision, right? But it's not happening in a vacuum. It's grounded in a very real, very urgent problem, the housing crisis in its home state of Delaware.
The numbers here are, well, they're pretty staggering. According to the state's own housing needs assessment, Delaware is short almost 20,000 affordable rental units for its lowest income folks. I mean, that's not a small gap. That is a massive hole that requires some radical new solutions.
And the problem is only getting worse. Just look at this. Between 2019 and 2021, rents in Delaware grew twice as fast as the income of the people renting. So this isn't just a gap, it's a widening canyon.
The cost of a roof over your head is literally sprinting away from people's ability to pay for it.
And what that leads to is a massive affordability gap. These numbers show that 3/4 of all renters in Delaware are essentially competing for the cheapest 20% of homes on the market. I mean, that is an extreme mismatch, and it's exactly why entirely new housing models like this one are so urgently needed.
All right, Section 3, the path to reality. So you've got this big vision, you've got this very pressing problem. How do you actually turn a project like this into a real business?
The financial roadmap is, well, it's ambitious, and it's broken down into phases. It kicks off with a $7 million seed round in 2025 to buy the land and launch the prototype. From there, it scales up to a $70 million phase to build out the first full Sanctum Village. And the long-term goal? A target valuation of over $700 million by 2030, all based on creating a national brand.
And here's what's really clever. This is not a traditional real estate play. A standard developer makes money selling a house one time. The One Lake Drive model completely flips that. The long-term profit doesn't come from selling the physical homes, but from licensing the entire blueprint, the intellectual property, the curriculum, the AI, and basically franchising the whole sanctuary suburb concept to others. They're not just selling houses, they're selling the recipe.
And that innovative business model, that helps explain the political support we saw earlier. That endorsement isn't just a friendly pat on the back. It's official recognition that these complex problems need integrated solutions just like this one. And that's exactly the kind of out-of-the-box thinking policymakers want to encourage. Okay, Section 4, a replicable blueprint. This really gets to the ultimate goal, because this project was never meant to be just a one-off experiment. It was designed from day one to be copied.
The end game here is to create what the founder calls a canon brand. Think of it like an open-source, replicable blueprint that will let other communities, other developers, or other faith groups build their own climate sanctuaries anywhere in the world. The goal isn't just one community, it's scalability and global impact.
Which leaves us with this one final provocative question that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. Can a truly thriving community be built on a foundation of ancient scripture, modern AI, and, well, shipping containers? The answer to that could just reshape how we think about the future of our suburbs. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.